Tonight, a 20-year-old shot dead in North Melbourne as violence spills onto the streets.
A DoorDash driver left bleeding. Now police are hunting machete-wielding thugs.
Relief for millions of Australians with HEX debt, but there's a catch.
Exclusive, a Victorian boy's jumper fire nightmare. He's warning to other families.
A trick-or-treater's anonymous gift goes viral. Now his footy team has a gift for him.
And a bumper crowd watches Gold Rush guru storm home in a Derby Day thriller.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Mike Amor and Rebecca Maddern.
Good evening. A gunman is on the run tonight after a deadly shooting in Melbourne's inner north outside a Halloween-themed rave party.
The 20-year-old victim was left for dead on a busy street, triggering violent scenes as rival groups traded blows in front of police.
Emotions tip over after a young man is shot and killed.
We're grieving. We had to call the ambulance 4 times.
Families say 20-year-old Pao Church Bedong was shot and killed. Today remembered as loving, caring and always putting others above himself.
Our priority is here to support the family who are impacted in this horrible situation, to bring those offenders to account.
Police rushed to Langford Street in North Melbourne at 3:15 this morning. The gunman already on the run, but dozens of young people remained, initially outnumbering officers in the volatile situation.
I want to go see your brother.
Who is your brother, sorry?
You know who it is, bro.
It's a horrific incident. It's something that none of us wanted to experience. There is nothing to suggest there is an ongoing immediate risk to the community.
A Halloween-themed warehouse party had been underway just down the street. Investigators are trying to establish if the offender and victim had been inside or if they knew each other.
We know that there were a lot of people in the area at the time. Right, we urge those witnesses to reach out, to contact police.
Police flooded the area in North Melbourne throughout the day, grieving loved ones arriving at the scene, coming to terms with the loss.
Sarah Jane Bell has the latest from police headquarters. Sarah Jane, police need the public's help to track down the killer.
Mike, tonight the gunman remains on the run. While police are yet to find them, they are confident there is no ongoing risk to the community. They have increased patrols in the area tonight, assuring the family of the victim the offender will be held to account.
Sarah Jane Bell, thank you.
A food delivery driver has been terrorised by a group of machete-wielding teens during a violent carjacking attempt in Melbourne's northwest. But the victim turned the tables, chasing down his attackers, who tonight remain on the run.
4 thugs run, each swinging a machete, leaving their victim bleeding in the street from a deep gash to his hand. The group had just tried to carjack a DoorDash delivery driver's Honda in Melton around 7 last night. The 23-year-old victim's mate was in the car with him when the youths swarmed, snatching its keys from the ignition.
They were yelling and they were banging.
Food had just been dropped to 15-year-old Cadence Hart, who saw the attack through her window.
I felt horrible that I couldn't even go out there and help, because if I did, I would have been hurt as well.
There was one kid who was filming the whole thing.
The group eventually gave up and ran.
All the kids nowadays, they keep it in their pants and then they pull it out and then stab.
Despite the danger, the victim and his mate chased the attackers for 300 metres and confronted them in a nearby court as residents watched on from their homes.
I was terrified.
They had a couple of swings and I thought, shit, this is fair dinkum.
They were shouting at the pair.
I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. And then the other guy, let's go. And that's when they took off.
The driver ran to a nearby house for help, nursing his wound.
Quite deep. Really bloody.
What do you do? Someone's there bleeding and it's well, I can't administer first aid to the extent that he needed. So get him to somewhere that can.
They drove him to a medical centre. He was discharged from hospital today as police search for the attackers.
You can't even go out your house without being scared you'll be stabbed or killed. It's horrible.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
3 people are on the run after an out-of-control car smashed into a construction site in Melbourne's east. A red Mitsubishi Lancer became airborne and collided with a barricade on Pearson Drive at Croydon just after 10:30 last night. Part of the intersection was closed off as an investigation got underway. Police say all 3 occupants fled the scene and haven't been found.
In a major cost of living pitch, the Albanese government has revealed it will change the way it claws back student debt. The average graduate worker can expect to save hundreds of dollars a year, but there are concerns it comes with sneaky costs in the long run.
Striding towards the election with fresh cost of living ammunition.
Well, let's rock and roll.
A plan sure to be music to the ears of uni and TAFE graduates, lower debt repayments from next July.
It's a big deal for 3 million Australians.
Currently, a person is obliged to pay student debt if they earn $54,000 or more. That will increase to $67,000 next financial year.
Sensible changes. They're also generous.
Repayments for a worker on $70,000 will drop by $1,300. A graduate on $100,000 will pay $550 less, and someone on $170,000 will be $650 better off.
More money in your pocket rather than in the government's.
7 News understands it'll cost the budget around $300 million. The average graduate will save $13 a week, enough for a sandwich and milkshake, but not inflationary.
The dollars are not big enough to be make or break.
The changes designed by the architect of HEX, economist Bruce Chapman, but the opposition is concerned lower repayments will mean longer timeframes to pay off debt.
That means more indexation and higher student debt in the long run.
7 News understands the Prime Minister will use a major speech in Adelaide tomorrow to reveal more help on student debts, but won't go as far as the Greens are calling to wipe them all.
If Anthony Albanese went to uni for free, so should everyone else.
It'd be dumb because the budget really couldn't take that.
Josh Martin, 7 News.
Labor backbenchers are privately pushing for a ban on flight upgrades for politicians' private travel. But after a week dominated by questions about Anthony Albanese's perks from Qantas, senior ministers still support the current system in place.
The key thing here is that where there's an upgrade, it needs to be declared. That there needs to be a form filled out.
The saga is expected to dominate Parliament when it resumes on Monday.
More than 66 million Americans have already voted in the US election as the push to get the rest to the ballot box enters its final days. Donald Trump is under fire after another controversial comment aimed at a critic he accuses of being a war hawk.
Feeling loved in ultra-marginal Wisconsin, but still feeling the heat from this comment last night.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face.
Former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney, the target of the former president's dark imagery, describing it as how dictators destroy free nations, and the vice president agrees.
This must be disqualifying. Anyone who wants to be president of the United States.
The comment is now also the focus of an Arizona investigation into whether or not it constitutes a death threat.
Liz Cheney is a disaster. All she wants to do is blow people up.
Comments about Liz Cheney won't change hearts or minds in here, but in a state where a significant number of Republican voters backed his party rival Nikki Haley in that primary process, Democrats are banking on it being a motivating factor. What do you make of these comments that he's made about Liz Cheney overnight?
So I say Trump is Trump.
What does that mean?
He talk. That's how he talk, I guess.
Kind of a good comment, I think. I mean, if you're going to tell other people to go, I think you should go yourself, absolutely.
Both candidates blitzing battleground Wisconsin tonight. Cardi B joining Kamala Harris to rap Trump for comments on women he made this week.
His definition of protection is making sure our daughters have fewer rights than our mothers, then I don't want it!
In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, David Woywood, 7 News.
Join Michael Usher tomorrow night for a special edition of Spotlight covering the race to the White House. 7's live coverage of the election count begins at 11:30 on Wednesday morning.
Teens armed with machetes have sparked a dramatic car park takedown outside a shopping centre in Altona Meadows just before 3 this morning. Police seized a machete with a 16-year-old boy given a caution and released without charge. More than a dozen people have been killed when the roof of a train station gave way in Serbia, crashing on bystanders below. The country is now in mourning after what's being called one of the worst tragedies in its history.
Moments before disaster, people sit on benches outside a Serbian train station as commuters walk by. In a blink, chaos. A concrete structure at the entrance to the Novi Sad station collapses, trapping multiple victims beneath.
Tragedija.
This is a tragedy, says the Prime Minister. It is a Black Friday for us, for the entire Serbia. It happened around noon. People walking into the country's second largest train station, unaware of what's about to occur around them. For a while, it was hoped survivors lay beneath the twisted pile of concrete. We have contact with 2 people, the country's Interior Minister said. What you are hearing now is the work to get them out alive. But despite the heavy equipment rushed in, efforts were not successful. 14 people confirmed dead, some of them children, with the fear more bodies are trapped below. The railway station building was renovated in 2021 and again this year in order to be officially opened in July. Investigations now centring on the construction of the buildings that led to disaster and the most difficult day in Serbia's post-war history. In London, Joel Dry, 7 News.
Ariana Grande has swapped one land of Oz for another, arriving in Australia to promote the movie adaptation of the popular Broadway musical Wicked. The pop superstar spent the morning greeting fans in Sydney.
The time has come. We're so grateful to be starting in Oz.
Oh my gosh.
We're starting in Oz.
Oz in Oz.
Yeah.
Fittingly, it's the first stop in the global press tour.
Good weather has attracted more than 80,000 to Derby Day, defying crowd expectations.
Gold Rush Guru claimed a triumphant win in the Group 1 race despite a rollercoaster day for jockey Gelmi.
A mix of grey and blue skies overshadowed by monochrome as far as the eye could see. Punters streamed into Flemington early for day 1 of the Melbourne Cup Carnival.
You just got to put money on all of them.
More than 80,000 donning their finest black and white for the strictest dress code on the spring racing calendar. From sports stars...
12 o'clock and everyone's already bringing the good vibes.
One of the best days in Melbourne, I feel like. Everyone's out and about, all dressed up.
International models.
I had my glam team over at like 7 a.m.
To the who's who of Melbourne's social scene, rubbing shoulders in the luxurious birdcage marquees.
It's the one that everyone gets really excited about. There's something very Melbourne and chic about the black and white dress code.
Australia's golden girl took a splash. Bows, florals.
I love flowers.
Even an eagle dominating the fashions on the field.
That has inspired me to make this one from here.
Over the next 4 days, it's estimated more than 6,000 glasses of wine will be poured in this bar alone. And while the birdcage is arguably Derby Day's more civilised side, there's still plenty who prefer the trackside attractions.
US superstar and headliner Anastasia preferred to be left outside alone.
We say Derby, but you say Derby. So I feel very fancy in the Derby here.
There were birthdays,
my 30th, yeah.
bucks parties.
My boys got me a cardboard cutout of my fiancée.
And fashion risks.
Lord Farquaad from Shrek.
Some were lucky.
2 from 2.
No, I'm 0 from 2.
You can't win them all.
Australians are crazy about their punching, dude.
The main race of the day came down to the final leg.
Gold Rush Guru for South Australia with 100 to go is pulling out. It's the stronger. It's going well. And Gold Rush Guru won the Derby.
Gelmi bouncing back from a blood nose to ride Gold Rush Guru to glory. Tyra Stowers, 7 News.
And Abbey Gelmi is here. Abbey, it was a full day of drama for Gelmi.
Yeah, Becca, certainly. The star jockey was in tears earlier in the meet with plenty of twists and turns, including a suspension. Also, a top cap lifts the lid on what exactly went down at his farm to try to lure Clayton Oliver. A flying lap from Oscar Piastri puts the Aussie on pole in Brazil. And we have all the details from the Melbourne Cup barrier draw because now Derby's over.
Of course.
It's all about Tuesday.
Okay. Thanks, Abbey. A 000 call by Daniel Andrews is shedding new light on a controversial crash. Hear the audio next on 7 News.
Plus, a Victorian boy's surgery nightmare after a fiery mistake is warning for other families.
Volunteers lead the clean-up after Spain's once-in-a-century flood.
And later, why ballet is leading Melbourne's discount entertainment revival. Of a 000 call made by Daniel Andrews is shedding new light on a high-profile car crash 11 years ago. The former Premier and his wife were driving in Blairgowrie when they collided with a cyclist. Mr Andrews has always maintained the rider hit them.
We've turned right into Ridley Street and a kid's come flying through on the bike path. Yep. And we've hit him.
And is he conscious?
He's conscious, but he's in a lot of pain.
Right. Does he appear to be completely awake?
I can't answer. I think he's a little bit groggy.
In a statement today, the couple said the recording confirms the previous statements we've made, and while we are sorry that the cyclist was injured in the accident, we did nothing wrong.
A 12-year-old has suffered serious burns and undergone 8 surgeries after his polyester jumper caught fire. The Victorian boy's family wants his story to help other parents spot dangerous clothing before it's too late.
Bandaged up after 8 surgeries, 12-year-old Levi is finally feeling himself again.
I've been feeling really good.
6 weeks ago, he was caught in a freak accident in his backyard.
He was just flicking the cigarette lighter, and the jumper he had on at the time was made from quite flammable polyester material, and it just lit up.
Levi's 14-year-old sister Megan saved his life, dousing him with a garden hose.
Yeah, I kind of just went into action mode. I looked up and saw him engulfed in flames, trying to pull his jumper off.
Levi suffered full-thickness burns to his torso and was airlifted to the Royal Children's Hospital. A GoFundMe page has since been set up to help the family with his recovery.
So they've taken the skin from all around both his thighs to graft his chest and under his arms.
More than 1,000 children under 15 were admitted to burns wards last year. Parents are being warned to watch out for synthetic materials like nylon and polyester, which melt once ignited.
Choose clothing that has a low fire danger label. Teach your children the stop, drop, cover and roll drill.
Bethan Yeoman, 7 News.
Concerns are growing for the welfare of a missing Victorian woman who lost contact with her family 2 weeks ago. Lorraine was last seen camping in the far south coast area of New South Wales. Officers believe the 69-year-old may have travelled towards Geelong in a white Toyota ute.
Flood-ravaged Spanish citizens are meeting the once-in-a-century disaster with an extraordinary show of community spirit. Volunteers in their thousands are leading the flood clean-up effort as the death toll surges and a new weather threat looms.
It's difficult to believe entire neighbourhoods look like this until you see it from a satellite. What isn't visible on these streets that better resemble a swamp are the locals pulling out their possessions and police pulling out bodies. Drones searching where people, bulldozers or dinghies can't.
All my life there, all my memories, my parents lived there.
Confirming the rising death toll currently standing above 205 people. Valencia's citizens have decided the only way to recover from a flood is a flood of volunteers. Tens of thousands of residents have been making the hour-long trip back and forth from the disaster zone, armed with whatever they have for days, and there's no sign of them stopping. This footbridge has been full of marching civilians for hours, among them Carles and Elizabeth.
And you see this and it looks like literally like a movie.
They're making a 3-hour back-breaking round trip to carry water to friends. But nothing compared to the ordeal everyone here is living.
It was crazy. I mean, we could never imagine.
Humanity's best on display.
No, tranquilo, estamos.
And its worst. Police arresting more than 50 people for looting. Investigations tying up time better spent searching. In Valencia, Ben Downey, 7 News.
Sonia Marinelli is here with the Derby Day weather details. And Son, one word, splendid.
Wasn't it just, Mike? Yes, Cup Carnival is off and racing with Derby Day kicking off today under warm conditions this weekend. The city temperature rising to 26 from only 7 this morning. Next week, Melbourne's weather is serving up a mixed bag. Trackside, we've got Cup Day tipped to be a warm, sunny winter, but then cool showers are forecast for both Oaks and Stakes Day. And tonight, a change. It's about to get very windy, so a jam-packed forecast coming up later in the hour. Back, Mike.
Thank you, Sonia. A driver's momentary mistake has triggered a 15-metre water spout in Melbourne's east. Details next.
Also ahead on 7 News exclusive, we take you inside the operation to keep the US election above board.
2 dead and a 17-year-old in custody after a Halloween shooting spree.
And meet the Melbourne police who conquered Kokoda for a good cause. Yep. Several Yarra Valley homes have been flooded after a car collided with a fire hydrant at Warrandyte overnight. Emergency services worked for more than 3 hours to divert the water as it flew 15 metres in the air. There was minor flooding and damage to the surrounding properties. The driver escaped with minor injuries.
There are growing fears across America about faith in the US election result if it goes down to the wire.
There are 14 Democrat-run states where voters aren't required to have ID, and 7 News has been given a rare look inside the Republican Party's election integrity team, keeping tabs on the count.
Headquarters for Donald Trump's Republican Party in one of America's most fiercely contested election battlegrounds, Phoenix, Arizona.
We're in a desperate situation here in the United States.
The party's boss in the country's second most populous county expects vote-rigging claims after the election.
So I'm sure there's going to be an issue regardless of who wins.
And warns the fight could spark a war in the streets.
I don't think there'll be Republicans out there, but I think there's a chance that we will have buildings burning, unfortunately.
Complete and total nonsense. No factual evidence whatsoever.
Authorities in the desert city have hired Chris Cotterman as one of their troubleshooters to watch the voting system this election.
It's fair. It works like it's supposed to work.
Republican donors are funding operations like this, a server centre, harvesting feeds for more than 60 public video cameras across several states.
If it's being recorded by cameras, we've got it. Let's put it that way.
Also, the party can vet election processes.
We've become a very significant investigative arm.
One part of what Donald Trump calls his election integrity team, a promised 100,000 volunteers and lawyers to hunt for election cheating. Who knows if it really is that big? Republicans are supremely confident Donald Trump will win here. So if Harris takes Arizona, they're all but certain to scream foul play. And from there, who knows where the election integrity fight will finish up.
If you're intellectually honest, nobody could believe that our elections are being run in an equitable fashion.
In Phoenix, Arizona, Tim Lester, 7 News.
A Halloween party has taken a deadly turn in the US. 2 men were killed and 7 others injured when a teenager opened fire on crowds celebrating in Orlando's nightlife district. The 17-year-old suspect has been arrested. It's the 27th mass shooting in the state of Florida this year.
King Charles has cut off his disgraced brother Prince Andrew, stopping his $1.3 million a year living allowance. The details revealed in a re-released biography on the King 5 years after the Duke of York's disastrous Newsnight interview.
A group of police officers are among the last to walk the Kokoda track before it's shut down to the public.
They're raising money to help cops dealing with the mental scars of life on the front line.
one of the last groups to tackle the Kokoda track before it closed to the public. These former police officers are learning the lessons of their forebears.
We felt Kokoda represented sacrifice, commitment, courage, all the things that resonated well with us.
Testing their character and strength, just like those who fought in World War II.
To see these places where these young men fought in 1942, it was just incredible.
The group traversed the brutal 96-kilometre journey over 8 days to raise money and awareness for Police Veterans Victoria, an organisation that supports officers needing mental health support.
This was an opportunity to do it, be sponsored to do it, and to raise money for a good cause.
And they did just that, raising more than $100,000. Cameron Duncan got more than he bargained for, returning with malaria and spending several days in the ICU.
Half the soldiers came back from World War II with malaria, so it just made the whole thing a little bit more real.
On average, the organisation receives up to 3 referrals every week, but receives no government support.
About 25% of those who leave policing are severely impacted by some form of post-traumatic stress. We see that on a constant basis, and we're the only ones out there looking after them.
Ainsley Kosh, 7 News.
An Australian woman is facing years in a Bali jail because of this CCTV, what police say she did next.
Also ahead on 7 News, why ballet is leading Melbourne's discount entertainment revival.
The Bayside home that comes with its very own beach.
And after sport, a trick-or-treater's anonymous gift goes viral. An Australian woman could face up to 5 years in an Indonesian prison over an alleged theft in broad daylight. Bali police have released security video which they say shows 45-year-old Vanessa Cummins stealing laptops outside a supermarket. It's alleged she left with one of them before returning for the second. The Sydney woman is yet to be charged.
Melbourne's entertainment industry is adopting new schemes to boost audience numbers, with multiple sectors now offering big discounts. Families can now access theatre, movies and the ballet for as little as $10.
Elegant and sophisticated, the ballet has traditionally appealed to a mature audience. But the Australian Ballet wants to change that, introducing a discounted ticket ballot in partnership with Telstra for its upcoming 2025 season.
We really want to open the doors for people that haven't seen this art form,
enticing them into theatres for just $40 a ticket. A similar initiative in New York has increased sales by 50%.
Well, for a lot of theatrical productions, the tickets are very expensive. So if there are marketing opportunities to sell tickets at a cheaper price, people will respond.
Over the past year, there's been a significant decline in entertainment spending in Melbourne, down 11%, or $163 per person. But if you know where to go, there's plenty of bargains around.
I would say there's more people looking to get a discounted ticket. A lot more people coming in here, just seeing what's on offer.
On Mondays, Cinema Nova in Carlton offers $7 movie tickets. On Tuesdays, the Arts Centre releases its weekly discounts, while on Thursdays, the Melbourne Theatre Company entices audiences with $35 seats for weekend performances.
We are expecting and hoping that things will shift next year, but for the time being, value for money is the catch cry for any retailer or anyone who's selling goods and services in the discretionary category this year.
Bethan Yeoman, 7 News.
There's an urgent recall tonight on a popular pram over concerns some models of the Silver Cross Reef could randomly collapse, injuring babies and young children. The locking mechanism is at fault and impacts Earth, Neptune and Orbit models bought between July 2022 and October 2023.
On this week's Property Pulse, this family isn't just selling a home, they're selling a lifestyle.
As Melina Saris discovered, the property comes with a private beach, a mini golf course and an equine centre for aspiring horse riders.
It's just over an hour's drive from the CBD, but you can get to this property by boat or even by helicopter with a private boat ramp and helipad on site. There are waterfront views from almost every angle of the property. The new owner will have their very own piece of Victoria's coastline. The land title extends into the ocean. If you're swept up in the Melbourne Cup Carnival and in the market for a multi-million-dollar home, this one comes with a state-of-the-art equine centre with an arena, paddocks, stables and even a horse sauna.
On 5 acres, you actually have a nice 60 by 20 arena, horse arena, equine centre.
It's an entertainer's paradise, complete with a go-kart track. There's also a mini golf course and an infinity pool and spa overlooking the ocean. If you'd prefer the beach, you have your very own private piece of sand.
There's amazing views. It has a tidal that actually goes out into the ocean, which is very rare in Victoria.
There are 5 bedrooms, each with an ensuite and a separate studio for guest accommodation. Curlewis is just over an hour's drive from Melbourne, 10 minutes from Geelong. But you can avoid the traffic with a boat ramp and a helipad.
Get on a boat, get on your helicopter. There's plenty of ways to get here.
It has a price range of $10 to $11 million. They're hoping the property will catch the eye of international visitors in Melbourne for the Cup Carnival.
It's a very small percentage of buyers out there for a property like this, but the high-end net worth individuals would absolutely fall in love with this property.
The current owners built the home in 2019, but they're selling up to move to a bigger property.
Their daughter is overseas competing in the equine industry, so they are actually looking for more acreage.
Melina Saris, 7 News.
We all like that one.
House.
We're a few bucks short though, all of us. Well, Abbey Gelmi is back with Sport Now. Abbey, the Melbourne Cup barrier draw has just taken place.
It's the big one, Beck. We'll tell you how the favourite has drawn after the break. Also, Derby delight for Jamie Carr on a day of highs and lows for the star jockey at Flemington. Rhys Stanley reveals just how the pitch to Clayton Oliver went down on his farm in Geelong. Sam Constas makes a meal of his test audition. And Aussie Oscar stuns to start from pole in Brazil.
The most historic US election in our lifetime. Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. The first female president or the comeback of the century. The impact down under could be huge. With Seven's correspondents live across America, led by Michael Usher and Angela Cox, with Natalie Barr live from the White House, with every state declared first, with exclusive data from CNN and NBC. Hold on tight. Anything can happen. Watch history unfold. Wednesday, live on 7.
Welcome back. Melbourne Cup favourite Buckaroo faces a tough test after drawing wide. He'll jump from barrier 21. Well, Bam will jump from barrier 11, currently second favourite with the bookies. One smooth operator's out of barrier 12, but he'll have a big ask for Chris Waller's 6-year-old.
Barrier 21 for Buckaroo in this year's Cup on Tuesday.
Sea King has drawn barrier 1. It was a day of twists and turns for Jamie Carr at Flemington, topped off by winning the Victoria Derby. The star jockey overcame emotion, blood and drama to come out on top on the first day of the Melbourne Cup Carnival.
The day begun under tough circumstances for Jamie Carr.
A win that means so much, another will by a length and a quarter.
A win after the passing of Colin McKenna, the owner of Another Will.
Doesn't feel real, but he carried us over the line then because these gaps weren't there and then they were there.
Then a reality check in the next race for Carr, her ride playing up, heading into the barriers, leading to a blood nose.
Jamie Carr has been stood down by the doctor, and so Hurry Curry is a late scratching.
But the best was still to come.
And they're racing.
The country's oldest classic delivered a golden day for Carr in the Derby.
Gold Rush Guru for South Australia with 100 to go is pulling out. It's the stronger. It's going well. And Gold Rush Guru won the Derby.
Harry, the owner, said, you know what fixes broken noses? Champagne. I have plenty waiting for you when you cross the line first, so I'll hold him to that.
Then it was revealed the star jockey pleaded guilty to careless riding in race 2. She'll race on Cup Day but will be suspended for Oaks and Stakes days. A stallion-making race, the Coolmore Stud Stakes over 1,200 metres. The first Group 1 of the carnival going to Switzerland.
This is going to be dominant. Switzerland a big winner by 2.5.
James McDonald has now won 3 of the last 4 Coolmores. This, Chris Waller's 6th.
Just an awesome win. It was really good. It was dominant. It was arrogant. So many great stories are made here, and I guess it's just a privilege to be here.
Waller and McDonald then backed it up, taking out another Group 1, the Empire Rose.
Amelia's Jewel just in front of a Tissue diving. It's a head bobbing go. A Tissue wins.
The atmosphere to riding on these big days or competing on big days is second to none, so love it.
In Sydney, Bella Nipotina took her career earnings to over $22 million, second to only Winx, winning the $3 million Russell Balding Stakes. Lake Forest won the $10 million Golden Eagle. Tim Hipsley, 7 News.
Rhys Stanley has lifted the lid on Geelong's near miss with Demon star Clayton Oliver. The ruckman revealing a message from captain Patrick Dangerfield was a driver behind a secret meet and greet.
The Penfolds marquee at Flemington, a long way from Stanley's farm in Geelong, and a random text from the skipper.
Can I pop over? I want to bring someone around, and I said no worries. And anyway, here's Clary walks out the car, and I shook his hand. I thought, hang on a second, what's going on here? This could be an exciting prospect.
But despite Oliver's desire to move, a chat about farming was as far as it went. Bailey Smith's a different story though, after nearly 400 days on the sidelines.
Ready to have a kick and a catch, and we weren't quite there yet, so he said, who wants to kick the footy with me? So it's great to see. He's super keen to get out there and play some footy, so I'm excited to see what he can do with us.
While former cat Zach Toohey has levelled explosive claims at former Carlton coach Brendan Bolton in his new book, The Irish Experiment.
It was our first trip to Tasmania, and the trolley comes down the aisle and they're handing out some little biscuits to players, and didn't think anything of it. And in the hotel, any player who had taken a biscuit was made to stand up and asked if they felt that was what a professional athlete should do or how a professional athlete should behave. I thought this is going to be an intense year.
Theodoropoulos, 7 News.
Melbourne has kept their finals hopes alive in the AFLW, but that could all change after tonight's clash between Essendon and Carlton. Here's Al Nickerson at Icon Park.
Final round of the AFLW season. Melbourne's win here today means Essendon at the moment is out of the 8. Kate, can they get back in with a win over the Blues tonight?
The good news, Al, win and they're in. So that's the first job that they have to get done. The destiny is in their own hands. If they come out tonight and put on a good performance here at Icon Park, they're able to make the finals and take a little bit of momentum in as well. So the D's did their part of the equation to make this one a very interesting game tonight. Their ability to get their players back at the right time of year. Obviously losing Steph Wales last week was a huge loss, but everything's on the line. It's going to be a cracking game tonight.
So Bombers need to win to make the finals.
Chances of Sam Constas opening the batting for Australia may have been skittled for now. The teenager made a mess of his second innings for Australia A against India A, bowled out for just 16. There's no doubt of what we'll get, though, from Short and Fraser McGurk in their opening partnership in the first one-dayer against Pakistan.
Fireworks. And I'm not hoping to say, I can almost guarantee it. They're obviously, their plan A, and it's no secret, is to put the bowler under immense pressure.
That match is on Monday at the MCG. Oscar Piastri will start from pole on tomorrow's sprint race at the Brazilian Grand Prix. The Aussie sealed the top spot with a rapid lap in the dying minutes of qualifying, pipping McLaren teammate and championship contender Lando Norris.
The tyres hung on, so very, very happy, and excited to be starting off P1.
Charles Leclerc will start in third, and reigning world champion Max Verstappen will start in fourth. We're very happy for Oscar, and I'm happy a Victorian had a win today, because that was not my experience. I'm looking forward to Tuesday.
I think punters out there will agree with you. It's a tough day at the office, as they'd say. Thanks very much, Abs. Well, the young boy's sweet Halloween gesture has gone viral on social media.
The 11-year-old's act of kindness even catching the attention of his favourite footy team.
A good deed that hasn't gone unnoticed. 11-year-old Tayden Butterworth was trick-or-treating with his mates when he came across an empty candy bowl.
Yeah, just leave some.
Without a second thought, he took it upon himself to give back, emptying half his stash into the bowl for others.
To make little kids happy and to make them have a good Halloween.
It caught the attention of the home's owner, who watched on her Ring doorbell camera, sharing the wholesome moment to social media, praising the young boy's kindness.
I didn't know I was going on Facebook and recording.
I don't think he realised how much like a small gesture like that to him means so much to everyone else.
So much so, he's quickly become an overnight sensation, even capturing the attention of his favourite football team, the Adelaide Crows, posting online to track down the mystery boy, who assures us his Guernsey wasn't a last-minute costume. Tayden's passion for footy goes much further than his love for the Crows. He hopes to one day make a career out of it and play alongside Josh Rochelle. He's a big fan of the Crows' young gun, not that he can put it into words. And why do you love Josh?
Because he's a good player.
But he's more than happy to show off his moves.
Go the Crows!
Madison Stanley, 7 News.
Well done, Tayden. Sonia Marinelli is back now with a winning cup forecast. Son, it's a stroke of good luck.
It is, Mike. Yes, Cup Day is a winner, but the rest of the forecast is a mixed bag. I'll have the details coming up next. Hello again. Well, it has been a brilliant start to the Cup Carnival, but tonight our weather is changing. The sky has clouded over and it's starting to get very windy in Melbourne, with elevated areas across Victoria tonight under threat from damaging wind gusts. But before it did turn grey, it was a beautiful Derby day, breezy with blue skies, helping the city warm from a very chilly 7 degrees to a warm top of 25.8. That heat is now flowing down over our northern border, pushing the temperature to the low 30s in the Mallee and as high as 27 across southern parts. But there's a large band of high cloud that is now drifting over the state. There's no showers from it just yet, but our breezy Derby day is now turning very gusty tonight ahead of an approaching cold front that could elevate the winds to damaging speeds over mountainous areas. But it's those high winds that will keep us nice and warm tonight. The city isn't forecast to drop below 19 degrees as those gusty northerly winds continue to drag heat down from central Australia. Once the cool wind change kicks in tomorrow, the wind will die down and that temperature will settle. Okay, around the nation tomorrow, most of our major cities in the north and east are staying very hot, but the cold front is bringing a couple of milder days for us here in the southeast. Tomorrow, Victoria's in for a warm, gusty morning with some spots not dropping below 20 degrees. The front itself reaching the west around midnight, then Melbourne at 8 a.m. before continuing to sweep through to the east. As it moves through, it's going to calm the wind, bring some light showers, followed by a cool wind change, then some afternoon sunshine. Now, we are expecting the temperature to hover here in the 20s across much of Melbourne overnight. The worst of the wind happening while we sleep. It should start to ease from around 8 as a cool wind change arrives. We'll get some light showers, but they'll dry up quickly. By the afternoon, we're back under sunshine and it should be quite pleasant with maximums in the mid-20s. So very warm overnight in the city, hovering in the 20s for most of it. Both the wind and those showers easing to a lovely afternoon. We've got a top of 23. Looking ahead, nothing special about Monday's weather, 19 and partly cloudy, but Cup Day should be magnificent, 25 and sunny. Hot and gusty on Wednesday before a cool change arrives with showers for the rest of the Cup Carnival. But Beck Mike tomorrow, finding up after the morning.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
Son,
Son.
thank you. And that's 7 News for this Saturday night. We'll have updates throughout the evening.
For now, from the 7 News team, please take care and good night.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want every minute of every day, including breaking news alerts. Download the 7 News app now.